While President Muhammadu Buhari has proceeded on a 10-day private visit to the United Kingdom, a lot of debate is going on back home on why he did not transmit a letter to the National Assembly. And to have this conversation right here this evening, I have with me Max Oga. He is a legal practitioner. Welcome, Max.
Thanks for having me, Sister Gloria.
And of course, we have Dr. Cosmos Anyakudo. He is a doctorate of law, he's a researcher, and of course, a lecturer in the UK as well. Welcome.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
All right, I want to start with you, Dr. Cosmos. First things first, the president has left the country on a 10-day private visit. Whatever it is, he has gone to the UK, it might just be for relaxation. But the debate is, he has not sent a letter to the National Assembly, even though the Constitution says he doesn't have to, at least for a short stay of 10 days. Some worry this may not be in the best interest of the country. What do you think?
There's been a lot of debate about the meaning of Section 145. 1 and 2 of the 1999 Constitution, but there is an important element of it, or should I say two important elements of it, operative words that have not been adequately addressed by a lot of commentaries. And the first one is this. Section 145.1 says that the president, when he's away on vacation, and then an operative word was inserted there, or. It's a disjunctive. In other words, once you get to that point of or, you must be able to dichotomize the content of that section. It's the or that I want to concentrate on to say that the first instance is if it's on vacation, which is now subject to various interpretations, or in the alternative, if for any other reason he's not able to discharge the functions of his office, he shall. It's a mandatory thing. So, is he on vacation? If he's on vacation, he should. If he, for any other reason, is unable to discharge the functions of his office, even if he's in situ in the country, he's mandated to transmit his inability to function.
Well, there's no way in Section 145 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, where the president is required to transmit a letter to the National Assembly that he will be away. That section reads, whenever the president transmits a letter to the National Assembly that he is proceeding on vacation or that he will be unable to discharge the functions of his office, the vice president shall, that's where shall comes for the first time, comes up for the first time. The vice president shall take over as the acting president. The experience we had in 2010, which led us to the doctrine of necessity. The National Assembly, where then Vice President Dr. Goodluck Jonathan was made the acting president. Now, we had our constitution amended to include a proviso that where a president or a governor is away, remember the circumstances that led to a late president, he was rushed out because of health challenges. So there was no time for any communication to be sent to the National Assembly. So we now have an amendment which says, if for whatever reason the president or a governor leaves without being able to transmit after 14 days or thereabout, that the vice president or the deputy governor, in case of the state, shall assume office
here's my question.
in acting capacity.
There are questions about our sovereignty and about our head of state, and where he is where the government is. There's a question of our sovereignty. There's a question about the moral implication of this. There is the governance issues around it, whether or not the vice president can effectively handle the functions of that office when he's away from Mr. President. There are issues about setting the precedent. So on many grounds, the implications of this is huge, including setting a precedent that we don't want anybody to.
Here's a question. Garbache, one of the spokesmen to the president, has already said that the president can govern from wherever he is in the world. Now, Max, coming back to you on this matter, he is on vacation or he's on a private visit. Maybe we can stick to that. He's on a private visit and has not, according to you, transmitted the purpose for this visit. He has not said how long. Well, of course, we know it's probably for 10 days, but not for the purpose of this visit, and has not communicated it to the National Assembly. And the VP is the coordinator of the government. Now, assuming that something of an emergency occurs in this country, an emergency, even though we may look down on a terrorist attack, maybe in Maiduguri, which happens regularly, it is an emergency in this country. When that happens, the president still has to fly back to this country, and it will still take time. What if he needs to take decisions immediately? Are you saying that where he is in the UK, as he just said, where the government is right now, the Nigerian government is in the UK, the president can right now from the UK make the decisions, give the directives to quell whatever emergency that is on right now?
So if there's a bomb attack in Maiduguri, the president has to put in a word before an action is taken. Is that what you're saying?
He doesn't have to?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. No, he doesn't.
I agree with Max.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
Are you
No, excuse me. Excuse me. You have police divisions. You have military formations. Right? Once there's an armed robbery attack, once there's a terrorist attack, once there's an incident of insurgency, security personnel on ground have a responsibility to rise to the occasion, to address that situation. That's the truth of the matter. If there's a kidnap in Omaya, you don't need the consent of the president to go effect an arrest.
I said an emergency. I didn't say something of a local issue that something.
You said if there's a terrorist attack in Maiduguri.
A terrorist attack, for all intents and purposes, could be coordinated bombings as we speak in Maiduguri, which we have seen over and over and over. And then you've got
I tell you for free, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria can do the needful to make
even
sure
though he's just the coordinator of the government as we speak, and the president
even the president is the coordinator of the government.
So for all intents and purposes, there's no hula baloo. The VP is the acting president as we speak.
That is it.
Okay.
Well, this is the contention, isn't it?
Yes.
Max is arrogating to the vice president a status that is unknown in law. The law does not say that he becomes the vice. And that is the argument you are making, Max, that in section 145, the express transmission of that letter from Mr. President to the Senate President is what arrogates to the Vice President the office and status, elevating him to the substantive president. There is a reason why a president has a vice president. The vice president is not the same thing as a president in this country. And I think we are oversimplifying this issue if we say that Mr. President is, it doesn't have to, if there is a bomb attack somewhere. In the world we live now, the kind of security challenges we face are not only physical. In the world we are now, a lot of security challenges go even online. Cyber security is a big issue. I do not even have the confidence that the government of Nigeria has a secure communication network between London and here that hasn't got to go through foreign agencies for intercept, for instance. I would rather have more confidence in Mr. President sitting around the table the way I am now with Max.
As a day-to-day practitioner, I look at the law as it is. The lecturer and the researcher looks at the law as it ought to be. Okay. So maybe next time put him side by side with
Well, that's a very good...
a fellow researcher.
With all due
I'm
respect,
putting it side by side with practitioners.
With all due respect, Max, the reason we have both of you from different contexts is so that we can have different viewpoints. And that is why, and that gives a robust conversation, which is what we're having. But before we round this up, he actually did mention something which I do want to get across to you. Please.
No, look, as a non-lawyer, you may not be able to couch your question in such a way that your audience will be educated and enlightened.
I am the journalist.
No,
You are the lawyer.
No, let me help you.
Situation.
Let me help you. Let me help you. The question is it constitutional for the president to leave? So that's what we should be addressing, not academic issues.
Max, this is my show. These are my audiences. I craft the question for them, and they understand.
I am sorry.
With all due respect to you now, I am crafting my question as I saw fit, and I believe that my audience will understand.
As the presenter, please.
Getting back to the conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
He did put out a question, which I am intrigued by it, and I'm sure a lot of people listening and watching would be. The fact that the president transmits a letter to the National Assembly is what gives honors to the fact that the VP is the VP. Or he's the acting president. The VP ascends to the rank of the acting president. You said something, that if there is a bombing in Maiduguri, coordinated attack, emergency, the VP can actually transmit or can rise up to the occasion to do or say or act in a way that will at least handle the emergency. But without that transmission of the letter, the VP has not been elevated to the acting president, so he can't function in that right.
That's your opinion.
It's not my opinion. I am just saying.
Do you hold the view that if the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, calls on the Chief of Army Staff or the DGDSS this evening, the 29th of April, to see him, that the person will not respond to that call?
While the president is governing from the UK, remember he can govern from anywhere in the world.
Then there could be a contradiction, because where you have two people, there would always be two ideas. Where you have two people, if you have three people, you would have as many ideas. The fact is that, let's look beyond this. And Max, I want to go back to something you said about the people.
Yes, sir.
Now, there is a moral responsibility, and you know as well as I do, it's academic, it's also a practice issue, that law, justice must not only be done, and the maxim is that it must be seen to be done. Seen to be done by who? Only those in the temple of justice who can interpret the rules of interpretation and the legalese that the common man doesn't know about. No, it's for Mr. President to give confidence to the people of this country by making that transmission. It does many things. Number one, it removes any appearance of impunity by Mr. President.
Okay.
It gives confidence to the people of the country that democracy is really a government for the people. For the people.
As a realist, what I would say at this point is that when things like this happen, we learn from them. Of course, the law evolves. As we take steps in amending various sections of our Constitution, let's also consider, let's look at the need to tinker with Section 145 of the Constitution.
As we did in 2010.
I'm shaking my head.
It becomes mandatory.
Exactly. All due respect to you now, I am crafting my question as I saw fit, and I believe that my audience will understand.
As the presenter, please.
Getting back to the conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
He did put out a question, which I am intrigued by it, and I'm sure a lot of people listening and watching would be. The fact that the president transmits a letter to the National Assembly is what gives honors to the fact that the VP is the VP.